There's been a lot of argument about DEI lately, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm a little confused about that because diversity is good. I think the vast majority of us, even the people that don't like DEI, they think diversity is a good thing. Equity, if you say all of us being equal, equality, I'd say everybody's behind that. But equity, I think, has a different connotation. I think with equity, they're saying that everybody ought to be even if they don't really deserve to be. Like, if somebody's more qualified than another, there's a thought that you still put the less qualified person in there to make things equitable overall. Like any kind of marginalized group, if you give them the benefit, right? You put them in the position, even though they don't qualify as much as another person, you do that just to kind of even things out as far as the way they've been treated in the past. And in my mind, that's similar to what I would call affirmative action. At least my understanding of affirmative action is exactly that. So if you have a choice between, say, a white and a black person, even though the black person might not be as qualified as the white as far as merit, right? Qualifications, experience, that sort of thing. You still give the black person the job just because over time, in the past, they've definitely been, given the short end of the stick, so to speak. So I think part of the problem with the whole DEI thing and the problem that people have with it is that word equity instead of equality. Because equality would be, I think, more accurate as to the intent of it, right? That all of us are equal. None of us get a leg up based on anything other than merit. And then, of course, inclusion, I think most of us would say that's a good thing too. Be more accepting of each other, include everyone. It just lifts everybody up as opposed to, the divisiveness and all that other stuff that we see today. So overall, I don't really understand why there's a problem with DEI unless they're thinking of it as affirmative action or unless that equity part is kind of the hang-up, equality versus equity. As far as the experience of it, like a lot of times people say, no, it's a DEI hire. That doesn't make sense to me in my experience with DEI because in my company, we have groups of people, employee resource groups, and they're based on various things. Like various minority groups have them, other types of marginalized groups, any of the LGBTQ, all that, they all have their own groups. But what it's really about is everybody getting together with like-minded people or people going through the same experience to learn from each other and learn how to navigate within that organization. It's nothing about anybody getting preferential treatment of any kind. It's just helping people get together and have camaraderie and share their shared experiences. And they even allow allies in. Like I'm in one of those groups, but I'm in there as an ally. I don't really qualify, or I identify as, any of those marginalized groups. I mean, I'm a white male. We've been dominant in America for centuries. But I think it's good that they let other people in there also, because I think it shows progress, right? That we can actually kind of identify with each other and understand each other's experiences and learn more about each other through that allyship. So again, it hasn't been any kind of negative experience, and I don't know how anybody in my company would view that as negative because it's not giving anybody any kind of preference, any kind of preferential treatment within the job. Everybody needs to perform. There's the same standards for men and women, no matter what your, sexual preference, no matter what your race. I mean, all of that, at least in my company, from what I can tell, there's no preferential treatment for any of those groups for any reason. Everything's merit-based, which is how it should be. And again, these groups are just to kind of have a support system within these various marginalized groups, which I don't view negatively at all, and I don't know why anybody in my company would. So I would caution people against making blanket statements about DEI and saying that it's a bad thing, because I think it's more how it's put into practice than what it is, right? And again, it might come down to the terminology as well, which is unfortunate. I think it should be diversity, equality, and inclusion. I think that would probably, I don't know, maybe lessen some of the negativity that people have around DEI.